Tonight someone is going to send you a link. It promises fast returns. It promises a spot before it fills up. It promises that if you get in early enough you win. You will probably ignore it. But for a moment some part of your brain will light up anyway. That part is older than money, older than writing, older than cities. And it did not evolve to protect you from scams. It evolved to keep you alive in a much smaller, much hungrier world. Here's the strange part. The exact instinct that Ponzi schemes exploit today was once one of the smartest survival tools a human being could have. Start further back than you'd expect. Long before coins, before shells strung on cord, before anyone carved a tally mark into bone, humans were already trading. Not goods for goods at first. Something else. Anthropologist Marshall Solon spent decades studying small-scale societies and found something that surprised a lot of economists. Early trade wasn't about getting the best deal, it was about building debt. Not debt like a loan you fear. Debt like a bond you want. Think about that for a second. You give your neighbor meat from a hunt. You don't ask for meat back. You wait weeks, sometimes months. And when your neighbor finally gives you something in return, it isn't a transaction. It's a relationship made visible. Why would evolution favor a species that gives things away and waits? Because a small band of 30 or 40 people cannot survive on selfishness. A bad hunt happens. A drought happens. A broken leg happens. If everyone hoards what they catch today, half the group starves the first time luck turns bad. But if everyone owes everyone, the group survives together. Anthropologists call this reciprocal exchange. Your ancestors called it staying alive. So the instinct to trust the group, to expect that generosity gets returned, to believe that the more people involved, the safer this is. That instinct isn't a glitch, it's a feature. It kept small human tribes from collapsing for tens of thousands of years. Now fast forward, way forward, past the wheel, past agriculture, past the first cities in Mesopotamia, where debt was so foundational that the earliest writing wasn't poetry, So Ituwidhin, it was ledgers, clay tablets recording who owed grain to whom. Historian and anthropologist David Graeber argued that debt, not barter, was likely the true origin of money itself. Before coins ever existed, communities were already running enormous informal systems of trust, credit, and obligation. That's the part that should make you pause. Money didn't replace trust. Money was built on top of it. Which means every financial system you've ever used, your bank account, your credit score, your investment app, is a tower resting on a very old, very human foundation. A foundation built for bands of 40 people who could see each other's faces every day. Not for billions of strangers connected by a screen. Here's where it gets uncomfortable. The moment a system gets big enough that you can no longer see everyone in it, your ancient trust instinct doesn't shut off. It just loses its early warning system. In a tribe of 40, if someone was hoarding, lying, or cheating, you'd know. You'd feel it. Word would travel around a single fire in a single night. But in a system of 40,000 investors, or 4 million, that fire doesn't exist anymore. You are running Stone Age software on a network the size of a small country. That gap is exactly where the pyramid lives. A pyramid scheme doesn't invent a new trick. It borrows the oldest one you have. It says, the group is growing. The group is thriving. Everyone before you is being rewarded. Get in, and you'll be rewarded too. It mimics the exact signal your ancestors used to decide who was safe to trust, visible group success. Except now the group is a spreadsheet you'll never fully see, and the success is other people's money being quietly recycled to look like profit. Psychologist Robert Cialdini spent years documenting the mechanisms behind this kind of persuasion. And one principle he identified explains a huge amount of it: social proof. Humans are wired to assume that if many other people are doing something, it must be safe, smart, or both. In a 40-person tribe, that assumption was almost always correct. In a global network of strangers, it could be weaponized in a single afternoon. Think about how a modern scheme actually spreads. It rarely starts with numbers or spreadsheets. It starts with a friend, a cousin, someone from your hometown, your church, your gym. Early investors are shown real returns, because in the beginning there's real new money flowing in to pay them. Those early winners become walking proof. Their success isn't staged, it's genuine for now. And genuine success is the most convincing signal your brain has ever known how to read. You don't fall for a stranger's promise, you fall for your neighbor's smile. That's not weakness, that's 40. That's 40,000 years of social calibration, doing exactly what it was built to do, in an environment it was never built for. So what actually collapses these systems? Not greed alone, not stupidity, mathematics. A pyramid needs each new layer to be larger than the one before it, forever, to keep paying the layers above. Economist Charles Ponzi's own scheme in 1920s, Boston promised investors enormous returns on international postal coupons. It worked spectacularly for a few months because early investors really were paid, using money from later investors. The moment new recruits couldn't be found fast enough, the entire structure had nothing left to pay with. It wasn't betrayal that ended it, it was arithmetic. Exponential growth always runs out of humans. And here's the twist most people miss. The people who design these schemes today aren't inventing new psychology. They're just the first to fully weaponize an old one at scale. Ancient reciprocity said, help now, get help later, and trust the group to make it right. Modern schemes flip that promise into a countdown. Invest now, recruit others, and get paid before the music stops. Same instinct. Opposite outcome. One built villages, the other empties them. You might think you're immune because you understand all this. But understanding a bias intellectually and resisting it emotionally are two very different skills. Behavioral economist Daniel Kahneman spent his career showing that even experts, even people who study these exact errors, still fall for them under the right emotional conditions. Urgency, social pressure, and the fear of missing out on something everyone else already has. That fear has a very old name. Your ancestors didn't fear missing an investment opportunity, they feared missing the group. Being left outside the circle of trust meant being left outside the circle of survival. Somewhere in your nervous system, everyone else is already in, and you might be abandoned by the tribe, still speak the same language. So the next time you see a name light up on your phone with an opportunity too good to explain quickly, notice what's actually happening underneath. It's not new. It's not clever in the way it feels clever. It's an ancient signal, the one that once told your ancestors who to trust around a fire, now being pointed at you by someone who has learned exactly which old wire to pull. Someone is going to send you that link again someday. And this time, some part of your brain will still light up. That's fine. That part isn't broken. It's just very, very old. And it's still waiting for a fire that isn't there anymore.